So Sean found a really amazing thread on Twitter written by Cody Sanchez, and it was basically just like bulleted points that she learned from a friend who's 40 and is near being a billionaire. And so number 7 on that thread was boredom as a superpower. And we thought that this was a really interesting one, especially in today's time, because guess what? Everybody always has a screen out in front of them, something going on in front of them, a distraction in front of them. So even if they're not bored, like let's say I'm sitting there washing dishes, I have a show on. It's like, it's almost, you're not giving your brain any breathing room to be creative because it's constantly looking at something.
That's true. It 100%. My best ideas come when I'm by myself, in the shower or taking a walk where I don't have any electronics and you can let your mind just kind of go free. It seems like the catalyst is always something I've read or learned that ultimately when I get quiet, it starts to visualize in my head what I read, So it's boredom 100% or getting off to yourself. Yeah, it's huge.
Wasn't there one of those trainers that also said that when they run, they don't put music in because it's cheating? Who was that? Because
I think it's Goggins.
Yeah, I think it might have been Goggins.
Yeah.
See, I feel like music helps me be creative.
Sometimes, but I think what he was saying is that it allows you to be in your own mind. Like you can feel the pain, you can feel the,
you hear yourself
you can hear the step, you hear you breathing. Yeah.
Yeah. At practice for conditioning, like we would run, you'd have no headphones, so it'd be you'd be running with your teammates, and all you hear is panting and breathing. So I'd be thinking about the craziest stuff whenever we were anything to distract myself from thinking about how bad I felt.
Yeah.
In that run. Oh, that's a good point. Maybe I need to start doing that again.
I don't know.
It's hard at first because sometimes I'll get out on the machine, the cardio machine at night, and let's say I'm burning 500 calories. I'm not going to put any electronics on. I'm just going to get on this thing and burn 500 calories. It's hard to do sometimes. You gotta get over that first 10-minute hump because you constantly want to go to your phone, do this, but then at some point you kind of decouple from the world and you're in La La Land, and that's where a lot of good shit happens when you're in La La Land.
Yeah, music sometimes motivates me too, though. Like if it's a good song, I'll feel like, okay, I can do this next mile, or I can do that. I can kind of get pumped up and run a little bit faster just because I know it energizes you, as opposed to forcing yourself to be energized. So it's a different take.
Yeah, it's just finding. I think there's all kind of ways to do this. Sitting in your quiet place, in the shower, places where you just don't. You're totally eliminated. It's weird because most of the ideas I've ever come up with that had any substance at all happened in the shower, dude. And it's literally like an aha moment at some point, and I'll get out the shower and jot it down on a notepad or something like that. But that's where all of them have come, and I start to think that's really one of the only times I'm decoupled from electronics, and it's just me and nobody else. And your brain can go this in a 10 or 15 minute period. It can go crazy places, good places. Get you into a mindset and understanding of things that you've been trying to figure out. It's like they'll just come to you. You just got to be still sometimes and be quiet.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that bringing us back to that statement about boredom, because I do think today's society, because there are so many distractions, the phone, like you have a full entertainment, right? And I mean, anything you want to do, you don't, to disconnect and allow yourself to be bored so that you can free think. It is really, really hard for the youth today.
Unbelievable.
Because, Robert Johnson, who we'll have on the podcast soon, but he does, he's a great man, very smart guy. He does a lot of tutoring with a lot of kids. He's retired. This is kind of like his retirement plan. Mm-hmm. He does ACT and math prep, but he has my daughter and a few of her friends that they're actually tutoring here in our office after work. And one of the things that he started doing is basically having disconnect time. Like within that 2 hours, they start with 10 minutes where they put their phones away and they have to sit in silence. And one of the girls came back to him and said, that was the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
Wow.
Shayna's face. But yeah, but think about it though, because that's as soon as you have any downtime, that's what you do. You say, start scrolling. You start farting around on your phone. They don't know how to be bored.
Well, I think one of my favorite things to do is, like, if Connor and I are going to dinner, like, I don't want to take out my phone because I know if I'm not going to have the conversation, Yeah. So I think maybe it's if you feel like this is something you're going to struggle with, maybe it be as simple as that. When you sit down to eat a meal, have that be your 10 minutes that you're letting your mind run wild and free.
Yeah. I'm sure there's scientific and medical benefits to this too. I don't think that it's good to have a busy, cluttered life, because you need time to, react to things, to process things, to take a different perspective on things. At least I know I do. That's why it doesn't happen typically in the morning or at work. And so I just stay up later because it's that important to my well-being and mental health and just physical health that I'm able to resolve these things, whether it's work stuff, whether it's pressure, whether it's relational. Just getting quiet allows you to deal with yourself a lot of times. How do you deal with yourself if you constantly are being entertained or stimulated by something? Sometimes you gotta deal with who you are and what's going on in your life, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And how do you do that when you're always busy and your mind's cluttered? So I think it's a mental health thing as much as anything else. I don't know what I would do without, I need hours a day of quiet time. I guess maybe it just depends on how you're built and what your makeup is and how much pressure you have on you and how big are your dreams and tasks. But I know hard chargers, people that are out there trying to, do the best that they can in whatever they're doing. Man, there comes pressure with trying to be great or trying to do something exceptional. There's a lot of pressure that people put on themselves to do that. The very nature of trying to be great at something or exceptional at something, man, there's a lot, it's internal pressure a lot of times. It's not external. It might be external also. So how do you escape that and get back to a regular place as a regular person? Because there's times when you're grinding and pushing that, man, it's like, dude, you're disconnected from everything. This is just all you can consume, and it's not good in a lot of cases. You got to remove yourself from it, because remember, there's sprints and there's rest. There's sprints and there's rest. You have to rest, whether it's daily, weekly. You have to have a process where you can rest your mind, because that's how it replenishes. Understanding the resistance, the war of art, the book with Stephen Pressfield. You have to recognize these things about yourself in order to continue to evolve and improve as a person. Yes, it's just really important for all of us. That whole looking in the mirror, evaluating things, and understanding I have to compartmentalize my life. I gotta go in spurts. I gotta attack things and rest. To me, if you can figure that out, man, that's one of the real secrets of living a successful life, because just like we talked about, the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So when you get under control, man, it permeates throughout your whole life.
Yeah, it might actually be a time like you schedule that boredom.
That's right.
Like you might have to do that.